Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to, I guess you could say, a bit of a preview thought process on WWE Survivor Series and NXT War Games 2. Now, in case you all don't know, I already did a video on this. A lot of people have talked about this. Nia Jax have kind of changed the course of Survivor Series in a big way. Check out my video on it, check out what other people have had to say, but basically, due to the ending brawl on Raw with the SmackDown women invading Raw, Nia Jax inadvertently, accidentally, intentionally, however you want to look at it, it's up to you, caused Becky Lynch to get a broken nose and a concussion. Thus, Becky is out of Survivor Series and she has a replacement in place for her. But this also, for some reason, affected the men's side of things because we have a new champion that's going to be entered into a champion versus champion match. Now, with that said, let's take a look at NXT War Games first. And I'm just going to do this for a moment. Hold on. Here we go. Let's take a look at NXT War Games first. Now, there are several matches assigned. We have, first of all, Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black. In case you guys haven't been following, it was revealed that Johnny Gargano was the one that attacked Aleister Black. The reason he did this, and he's willing to accept any punishment he gets during the match because of this, even in victory or defeat. The reason Johnny did this is because the storyline is, and it's a very well done storyline, very intriguing, is Johnny believes he is the only one. He is the only one that should defeat Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. The story, we've seen it time and time again throughout professional wrestling. When somebody like a Johnny Gargano or Johnny Wrestling gets obsessed with someone like a Tommaso Ciampa, they believe it's their goal to be the only one that takes them out. And if Johnny does that, in his mindset, by taking away the NXT Championship, not only does he end this thing with Tommaso Ciampa, but Ciampa will basically be gone and out of his life forever, because what he's taken from Ciampa is something that he holds very dear, and that's the NXT title. Now, who wins this match? Well, it's totally up in the air. You know, a lot of people are thinking, because the storyline plays it out this way, Aleister Black. While others believe Johnny Gargano needs to be the one that wins to continue the storyline. I look at it this way. Johnny Gargano needs to definitely win. I will agree with that, so I will go with Johnny. On one condition. He's in a mode right now where he's entering a darkness that he basically says he's starting to like, but it's a darkness obviously that he needs to go to achieve his goal of getting to Tommaso Ciampa. So my thought process is this: there's going to be some kind of moment during the match where he ends up causing Aleister Black to bump into a ref or something, and he's going to nail him maybe with a chair or whatever he's going to do, and Johnny's going to walk out the winner, thus ensuring the first step to Tommaso Ciampa is complete. Then we get the 2 out of 3 falls matchup. We have Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna will be accompanied by her 2 fellow horsewomen of MMA. And the winner, of course, that's what I'm trying to say, of course, that this match is for the NXT Women's title. The only question is, who wins 2 out of 3 falls? Well, some would say that since Shayna has her 2 buddies at ringside, it's a foregone conclusion that Shayna's winning. And that is true. storyline always suggests that when the heel has the buddies at ringside, especially in these kind of circumstances, that heel ends up winning in the end. But here's the reason why she would win. The way I look at it, and the way I'm sure anybody else looks at it, is the loser of this match is going to get called up after Survivor Series to either Raw or SmackDown. So this is the way I look at it. If that is the case, if Kairi Sane does not win, then Kairi Sane is SmackDown Live bound. That is a fact. Kairi Sane is going to be SmackDown Live bound if she doesn't win. If Shayna Baszler wins, or not wins, but if Shayna Baszler loses, then Shayna Baszler is Monday Night Raw bound. That is a foregone conclusion. I mean, you could say, well, why not put Shayna on SmackDown? You could have Shayna and Ronda running the joints. You have Sonya Deville already. So unless you're planning to bring Shayna on to SmackDown as heel, and thus as they're teasing, you're making Sonya Deville a face, that might work too. But more than likely, the way they're pathing this out, of building this, basically thrumming this out, pathing it out, whatever you want to call it. Kairi Sane, if she doesn't win, is going to SmackDown. And if Shayna doesn't win, she's going to Raw. So this 2 out of 3 falls match is a toss-up. I will say that I definitely believe we're going to all 3 straight falls. You can't have a rivalry like this between the two and not say the way we're going to conclude it is just the winner of the match gets 2 straight falls and that's it. No. This is the kind of match that needs to go all 3 falls and end in a way that is significant to saying the rivalry's over. That's how it's got to go. So again, Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane, I have no idea who's going to go over. It's a toss-up. But I will say that I'm predicting them to go to all 3 falls, and heed my words. I could be wrong, but heed my words. The loser of this match is getting called up after Survivor Series. And I don't know why I get this feeling, but I think if Shayna doesn't retain, she's going to Monday Night Raw. If Kairi Sane doesn't win, she's going to SmackDown Live. I think that's what's going to happen. It's more than likely that will happen. And maybe they might reverse it and say, Kairi, you go to Raw if you lose, or Shayna, you go to SmackDown if you lose. Could happen either way. So again, it's a toss-up, but I do predict them to go to a 3rd and decisive fall in this. Now, checking something there. Okay, just checking something. Now, let's talk about the NXT Championship, Tommaso Ciampa versus the Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream is one of the most charismatic characters NXT has right now, and will be, if promoted and brought up correctly and used correctly, will be a gold mine, a purple gold mine for whatever brand he shows up on. More than likely he'll show up on SmackDown Live. But this match, no doubt, is going to be tremendous. However, unfortunately, it's pretty much predictable that Velveteen Dream will not walk out with the NXT Championship. Why? Because if they're going to go down that road and that path of Johnny Wrestling, believing he's the only one that should defeat Tommaso Ciampa, he's the only one that has the ability to do it, then expect Johnny Gargano, to interfere in this match. Expect it. Now, with that said, they might turn the tables on us. They might surprise us. They might have Johnny cost Tommaso Ciampa the match. They might have Johnny cost Tommaso Ciampa the title, and thus, now these two will go at each other. Tommaso Ciampa has a reason to go back after Johnny Gargano, and you have basically one final matchup at the Takeover before Royal Rumble, where the loser leaves NXT for good. No coming back, nothing. That the loser of the match is gone. They could go that route. They could, like I say, surprise us with a twist by having Johnny cost Tommaso Ciampa the match and the championship. Thus, Tommaso has a reason to go after Johnny. At the same time, Johnny has a reason to go after Tommaso Ciampa. Nothing in the way but air, and off to the races you go. But more than likely, if things are playing out the way they are, I would expect Velveteen Dream to lose and Tommaso Ciampa to retain, and we're still probably going to get to Tommaso and Johnny at the Takeover before the Royal Rumble. I think that's just a foregone conclusion there. Foregone conclusion. Then we get to War Games. War Games, ladies and gentlemen. This one is going to be intriguing. You got the Undisputed Era, all four members, against Ricochet, the North American Champion, Pete Dunne, the WWE UK Champion, and the War Raiders, formerly known as War Machine, Hanson and Rowan. Hanson and Rowan. Yeah, Hanson and Rowan. Easy for me to say. And this is going to be pretty good. Last year we got War Games. It was good. It was unique. It was similar, but the way it was similar was to that 1998 War Games. This here is more traditional of War Games. This here is a War Games match that is true to War Games because you got two different teams and that's it. That's all you need. So the question is who comes out on top? Well, a lot of people are saying you got to keep the momentum with the Undisputed Era. And I do agree with that. But if you want to build up War Raiders and Ricochet and Pete Dunne as the future of NXT and the future of your company, if you want to do that, and that was my dog, she's okay, she's just waking up from a nap. Forgive me, Lord, for saying that. But anyway, if you want to build NXT upon the likes of a Ricochet, a team like War Raiders, and Pete Dunne, then the best solution is to have them go over. This is another match that, just like with Kyrie and Shayna, is a toss-up. I mean, I do agree you got to keep the momentum on the Undisputed Era side, but then on the other end, you don't want a chance destroying any momentum that you have or you want to give to the four newest young stars you have on the other side. So again, it's a toss-up, but I expect a classic match, and I expect a show stealer. I look at it this way. If we're looking at any matches to steal the show this weekend for WWE, they're coming out of NXT, and those matches are probably more than likely going to be Kyrie Sane and Shayna and the War Games match. Pretty much foregone conclusion there. Now, let's get to Survivor Series. Survivor Series happens the next night. Now, like I said, Survivor Series was drastically changed in 24 to 48 hours. So let's talk about some of those changes. Like I mentioned earlier, and everybody's talked about it, Becky Lynch is out against Ronda Rousey, and Becky has chosen Charlotte Flair as her replacement, thus ending the rivalry possibly between the two. And now we are essentially getting WrestleMania 35 early. But what this does, according to reports and everybody else, it does open the door, and it seemingly sounds like WWE is even considering it. It opens the door for them to co-main event. That was my dog. She walked into my tripod there. But anyway, it does open the door. It does open the door for them to slot in as a co-main event, if not a closing main event, Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey for WrestleMania 35, if they keep that momentum on Becky's side that she's been having. But who comes out on top here? Well, pretty much I think it's a foregone conclusion that Ronda's going over. It will be a great match, there's no doubt. It'll definitely open the doors for Ronda and Charlotte in the future. But I see Ronda going over here because you don't want to end her momentum that she has, and you want to keep in line with the story that she wants payback on SmackDown, and if she can't do it with Becky, she'll do it with Charlotte. But expect a great women's match here. Expect a great one. Expect a great one. Then we have another champion versus champion match. United States champion Seth Rollins against I'm saying Intercontinental champion Seth Rollins against U.S. champion Shinsuke Nakamura. This is a match that's never happened, surprisingly, on the indies or internationally, and now it's finally happening here. I expect a great match between the two. This is definitely going to put WWE back in the favor of a lot of fans if it goes right. But expect Shinsuke to walk out the winner thanks to interference by Dean Ambrose, which I think will definitely occur towards the end of the match when it looks like Seth is on the verge of winning. Thus, you play along the lines of Ambrose has no alliance to anybody or any brand. Then, we have another champions match. We have the Bar against AOP. Everybody's thinking the Bar is going to win because I'll have Big Show in the corner while AOP will have Drake Maverick. I tend to disagree. I think AOP needs to win here. They need to get that momentum back. And expect a moment during the match where AOP basically annihilates Big Show. Expect them to show their power and presence by taking out the Big Show. Expect that to happen. Expect AOP to win. Now we get to the champion versus champion main event of those matches. The WWE champion against the Universal champion. And like I said, things changed in those past 24 to 48 hours. Because now it's not AJ Styles against Brock Lesnar, it's Daniel Bryan, more specifically a heel Daniel Bryan. And this ought to be a good matchup. I know a lot of people are concerned that he's going into a match with someone that could probably put him out again. But hopefully that's not the case. And I have to say this one's a toss-up. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that Brock's going to win because it's a foregone conclusion, but you're now turning Daniel into a heel that's going to win no matter how he does it. It's a toss-up. So I expect a great match, but I can't predict a winner. Now we get to the elimination matches. We do have one championship match though. We have Mustafa Ali against Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship. I expect Buddy Murphy to retain in what's going to be a tremendous matchup. And unfortunately, it's going to end up on the kickoff show. But if they do put it on the main show, that'd be a surprise. But I expect Mustafa Ali to not retain, but he'll get another shot. Here's my prediction. Mustafa Ali is going to get that championship before the year's out. That's my prediction there. All right, now let's talk about the elimination matches. First, we have a match that's going to be on the pre-show. Apparently, that's the tag team Survivor Series elimination match: Team SmackDown against Team Raw. I'm going to give the nod to Team SmackDown because they have a better amount of teams on their roster, from the Usos to the New Day to Sanity to the Colognes. To the Good Brothers. Raw has a decent tag team division, don't get me wrong, and if they do want to continuously push Bobby Roode and Chad Gable as a team, that's great too, but I think SmackDown's getting the nod here. And then we get the women's elimination match. On one end, you got Team Raw, consisting of Natalya, Nia Jax, Tamina, Ruby Riott, and who else? Who else did she say? Mickie James. Yeah, Mickie James. So you got the Raw side. On SmackDown, you have Naomi, Asuka. You have Sonya Deville. Who else do you have? I'm trying to think. Well, let's see. You have Asuka, you have Naomi, you have Sonya Deville. Who else? I know they have somebody else on. You have, Carmella. You have Carmella. So the question is, who's the fifth member? Well, the fifth member is going to be up in the air, but a lot of people are saying Nikki Cross. It could be Lana, but it's probably more than likely Nikki because she's going to probably end up on SmackDown. I give the nod here to SmackDown because of the fact that on the one end you have Natalya and Ruby on one team, and their rivalry right now is going to cancel each other out, and that's going to lead to something down the line with Stephanie confronting Alexa about the loss because Alexa's the captain, but she won't be competing. Then we get to the men's match, where Baron Corbin on the outside will be captaining his team of Team Raw members of Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Dolph Ziggler against Team SmackDown, which consists of The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, Shane McMahon, and I'm trying to think, who else was it? Who else was on Team SmackDown? Shane McMahon, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, The Miz, and there was somebody else. I can't think of it right now. It's kind of going over my head right now. But I expect SmackDown to do a clean sweep here. Here's why. Because I think what's going to happen is Braun Strowman's been promised a match with Baron Corbin if Raw wins, and a championship match against Brock Lesnar. Sorry for that interruption, the battery died. But like I said, I predict, for some odd reason, the way it's being played out, SmackDown's going to get a clean sweep here. And you might ask why. Because like I said, before the battery died out, like I said, I think what's going to happen, because if you watch Raw, you go back and watch Raw, Stephanie McMahon basically said, Braun, if Raw wins, you can have Baron Corbin, you can name the stipulation for the match, and you can have your Universal Championship rematch against Brock. You can't tell me that with Baron Corbin as the captain on the outside, knowing that if Raw wins, he's got to go and face Braun Strowman in any match he wants. You can't tell me that he's not going to cost his own team, because he is. And you can't tell me, going back to the women's match, that Alexa's decision-making to put Natalya and Ruby on the same team isn't going to cancel Raw's chances out. So again, I believe SmackDown is going to have a clean sweep. I really do. So, overall, let's take a look at, so overall, with that said, let's take a look at my predictions for both shows. I predict for both shows, starting with NXT again. These are the predictions and how I look at it happening. Alright? I look at Johnny Gargano, and Aleister Black. I see that going to Johnny, and he's going to do it by any means necessary to further the story that he wants to be the one that defeats Tommaso Ciampa. He goes over Aleister. Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, I believe is going to go to all three falls, but whoever wins, that is a toss-up. And I do believe whoever loses is going to get called up the following week to the main roster. And my belief is if Kairi Sane loses, she's going to go right to SmackDown Live. If Shayna Baszler loses, she's going right to Raw, although they might surprise us and switch things up. So it's a toss-up right there. The NXT Championship match between Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa is going to be a good matchup, no doubt. But I predict Tommaso Ciampa to win thanks to Johnny Gargano, costing Velveteen Dream to further that story that Johnny believes he's the only one that should be defeating Tommaso Ciampa. He's the only one eligible. He's the only one qualified. He's the only hero that we see at the end of the story. But again, I also predict possibly, if that doesn't happen, a twist because NXT is known to give us these. I expect a twist at the end with maybe, if they do this, if this is the match they give us that curveball in, I predict Velveteen Dream to walk out. And it will be thanks again to Johnny Gargano, who will then, by doing so, give Tommaso Ciampa a reason to go after him again, and you just ride the waves to Takeover before Royal Rumble, where you have a loser leaves NXT match. That's basically how I see it. That's how I see it's going to culminate. It's going to culminate either way in a loser leaves NXT match. Whether Tommaso's champion still, thanks to Johnny, or he's not, and he has a reason to go after Johnny. It's up in the air. But it's the possibilities are endless. The door is open to endless possibilities. But, like I said, I believe Tommaso's going over thanks to Johnny because Johnny's going to be the one that wants to take out Tommaso Ciampa. But then again, NXT's always known about giving us curveballs. This could be that curveball they give us in this matchup where maybe they do put the belt on Velveteen, and it's all thanks to Johnny Gargano that Tommaso Ciampa lost, and Tommaso, again, like I said, has a reason to want to go after Johnny. Makes sense. The War Games match, I think is going to be good. It's nice to see a traditional team versus team 4-on-4 War Games match again. It's actually the first one, as far as I know, in WWE. So it's nice to see that. I mean, it's not the first War Games match in WWE. We saw that last year, but that was more of a 98 War Games style match. This one is basically very traditional. So it's nice to see them go back to that format of just two teams going against each other. Again, just like with Kyrie and Shayna, this is a toss-up. And again, you can keep the momentum with the Undisputed Era, but I solely predict it. They could go and keep the momentum with the new up-and-coming stars. But again, it's a toss-up, but expect a spectacular match. And if you're a Ricochet fan, prepare to have an OMG moment given to you by that guy. Expect it. So, anyway, that's what I look at for NXT Takeover War Games 2. Now let's take a look at Survivor Series. Survivor Series pretty much, as I said, is going to go like this. Ronda's going to go over Charlotte in what will be a great women's match, probably one of Ronda's best matches ever, but definitely a great match. It will be a great match, but I see her going over to keep her momentum going. I see Nakamura going over Seth Rollins thanks to Dean Ambrose. Does it, like I said, it plays into the fact that Dean Ambrose has no allegiance to anyone or even any brand. Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, not AJ, but Brock Lesnar, Daniel Bryan, I expect to be good. Obvious choice would be Brock Lesnar, but after what we've seen him do with Daniel as a heel now, and him willing to do whatever it takes to become champion, kind of going a little psychotic, if you will, it's a toss-up. Believe it or not, between Lesnar and Daniel. Then we get to the Cruiserweight Championship match, which I think is going to be great, whether it's on the main show or the pre-show. I expect Buddy Murphy to retain, but I do predict Mustafa Ali to get the championship before the year is out. Then we get to the elimination matches. I expect SmackDown to do a clean sweep here. SmackDown, I believe, is going to win tag team Survivor Series elimination match, the battle of the tag teams, because they have to me they have a stronger, more unified tag team division than Raw does. Then, as far as the women's elimination match, I expect Team SmackDown to go over on that one because of the fact that you have Natalya and Ruby Riott on one side. Are you kidding me? They're going to cancel each other out. And that's going to cause Raw to lose, and that's going to bleed into something that I mentioned when I talked about the Nia Jax situation. You're going to have Stephanie confront Alexa for decision making, and you're going to probably have Alexa come out and say, look, you know, you want me to follow through, you want me to follow orders, you want me to do what you say, you want me to not back off of anything? Give me my Raw Women's Championship match that I want. Again, check out the video I talked about when I mentioned that in the Nia Jax, about what kind of consequences could come Nia Jax's way, if any. But yeah, I expect Team SmackDown's women's division to do a clean sweep, because most importantly, they have that ace up the sleeve of nobody knowing who that fifth partner is going to be. And then on the men's side, again, I expect SmackDown to come out on top. Because, like I said, Baron Corbin knows the fact that if Raw wins, Braun Strowman gets to face him in a match, any kind of match he wants, as well as he gets a Universal Championship match. So expect Baron Corbin to kind of inadvertently or purposely cost his team the match and in a way sort of turn his back on Raw just to make sure he doesn't face Braun Strowman. So, like I said, I think Team SmackDown does a clean sweep here on the elimination matches. Everything else, pretty much, I think is going to go the way I believe it will. And that's going to do it for my Survivor Series and NXT Takeover War Games 2 predictions and previews. Unfortunately, I'll be working on Sunday. This will be the only Sunday I'll be working, hopefully, due to the fact that it's the week of Thanksgiving. So I'll probably be watching it when I get home or when I get a chance. But let me know what you guys all think down below about my thoughts on how I think certain things will go. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.